We are on the clock with the 101. And for this pick, we're going to go with Bijan Robinson. So I think when you have the 101, regardless of whether or not Bijan is your 101, I think it does behoove you to take him just because the likelihood of getting that pick is very rare, right? So a lot of you might have, Chase as the 101 or Chase as the 102, but the odds that you're actually going to have a top four pick are much greater than you're actually going to get the 101 itself. And I would expect Bijan to stay there throughout the entirety of the offseason, especially if we do see Tyler Algier move on. So swinging back around one pick away here, Jacobs is my highest rated running back of this group. Trevor, welcome back after some technical difficulties. We are on the clock here.
Was able to get back in. All right, back in.
So I went with Jacobs here. Now I'm kind of going to leave this one up to you. We can go with robust RB and go with the Brees, Walker, Bucky type, or if you want to lock in one of these two top wide receivers, you've got 8 seconds.
Yeah, I think we should go with Bucky. I think that as long as he stays healthy, he is a very good running back, top end, and he's got that social media following that we all know about. So, and we went wide receiver in the last one. So let's go robust RB up front. Our running backs were pretty rough in that build where we went hero RB. So let's change it up. Let's go robust RB. We love some receivers late, and I think we can really piece together that position.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And it's funny because last year, when Bucky Mania was kind of getting out of control, we were the ones kind of pouring cold water on that with, the departure of Liam Cohen and all these great things. And now I feel like the trend is to almost be like, oh, well, Bucky's like not efficient enough. And it's like, I feel like, maybe they're not being necessarily fair. He was hurt and, the team kind of fell apart. Baker kind of fell apart. So I'm willing to give Bucky a pass, especially because it sounds like Rachaad White is going to be moving on, right? And so Bucky's also an excellent pass catcher as well. So I would expect him to get a ton of volume, even though we do see him kind of get vultured on the goal line.
And this is what we're looking for from him. This is kind of where we had him last year going into the year, was right around running back 13, running back 14. So getting him as running back 14 is right up our wheelhouse. I'm in at that price. I was just never in at running back 7. I was like, I don't know about that day 4 pick, that type of thing. And obviously the coach change. I think of those two players, actually, it's funny. I think I might be more worried about Josh Jacobs. I know he was banged up too. But we saw Emmanuel Wilson be very good. And I don't know. What do you think? Are you still all in on Josh Jacobs going into this year? I think maybe Jordan Love not being hurt as well could lead to more passing in that offense. So I don't know. What do you think about Jacobs this year?
I'm partially biased because he is on my very much aging fantasy dynasty team in our league. So I want to believe he's got.
So you got to lock him in. Yeah.
I got to lock him in. But I think the nice thing about drafting Jacobs is we can get Wilson so late and for so cheap that he's one of those handcuffs where, barring any changes in the draft or free agency, that when he steps in, he can just go off, right? Yeah. So I'm going to kind of circle in on him later. Maybe we'll have to take him around above ADP, but I have no issues with that because either way, if either are going to be the workhorse, there's a ton of points to be had on that offense.
Yeah, and I think so too. And I think he's an underrated pass catcher too. And that's something that also declined a little bit last year. So as long as he returns to the bell cow back and he's being paid that way, he really should be that for this offense. So I agree there. And, being concerned is having him around 10, 12, because normally you can count on him for more than that. So, all right, we got a pick coming up here in 4 picks. Well, I guess we're 5th and 6th. So looking at the board, I'm never going to be super in on Luther Burden in these type of drafts, but the other 4 receivers there I think are pretty interesting. JMO goes, Jalen Waddle, seeing him down at wide receiver 24 is interesting, or 25, I guess, is somewhat interesting because I think they're going to be a new quarterback there. They're going to be a new system. And he is the number 1 wide receiver there. So we know that he is super talented. They already moved on from Tyreek Hill. And so I think the passing game is going to be focused in on him. And even when he was the number 2 years ago, we were still drafting him as a top 15 wide receiver. That was too rich for our blood. But I think the point still stands that now that Reek is out of the way, I just don't understand necessarily why in a setup where you can have this super high upside, why he wouldn't be a little bit more desired. But I do like that quite a bit there. And As much as I don't want to go in on quarterback, I mean, that seems to be the glaring value, in my opinion, there with Lamar Jackson. I still am very much in on him. I know he dealt with injuries last year, but he has as much upside as anybody at the position, and he has upside to exceed significantly what anybody can do. So I do think in the fifth round there that's a pretty solid pick. In that if he stays healthy this year, he's going to far exceed that draft position.
Yeah, and comparing to all the running backs there, right? It's like Scadaboo's coming off injury. Judkins has literally no offensive line, who's also coming
Coming
off
off injury,
injury.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not the RJ Harvey guy. I know you are more so than me, but at the wide receiver position, it's like, okay, we don't know where Cardinal Tate's going to be. Like, as awesome as Christian Watson can be, like, we know there's injury concerns. We have question marks on Lemon. We've got question marks on Rome. So just kind of going down that list, I do love the Waddle pick because he's going to be at the wide receiver position, like the 1A, B, and C on that team, right? It's like
yeah,
Malik Washington is the 2, and we kind of know what he is, right?
yeah. They definitely have some work to do in terms of weapons, right? And obviously, Devon Achane demands a very high target share. I expect them to bring in a tight end. I think David Njoku would be a great fit on that team as an aging, pass catching, bridge type of tight end for the offense. And then they need to address the second wide receiver position, whether that's free agency or that's um, in the draft. So we'll find out more, but I don't think there's going to be anybody that they can bring in that's going to usurp Waddle in any way. I think they're just looking for players to take attention away from Waddle a little bit on offense. And,
Yeah.
having HN as the number 2 in the passing game already established is nice. So, they're looking more for a better 3 and a 4 option in the offense.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee he doesn't force himself off the team either mid-season, right? Like, maybe
I mean,
maybe
he
he
could.
ends. I mean, I would think about it myself if I was him. Force your way onto the Bills or something. But who knows? But again, just so ultra talented that it's just way too hard to pass up on. And then with Lamar, right? Like we're just buying the dip on Lamar. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand the ADP gap right now between he and Allen, but just rewind a year ago, right? Lamar finished one. He was being drafted. One pretty much anywhere. We always kind of advise having Allen one just because that year over year consistency, but especially in best ball, man, it's like it just gives you such an advantage to have him.
Yeah. Take a shot for sure. And the other part of it too is we'll be able to round out with a second, maybe third quarterback now very late. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have any Detroit Lions on our team, so there's going to be no Goff stack urgency, so we can maybe mine a different player at that position, like Tyler Shuck, somebody I really like.
Yeah, I like that. And then even like a flyer with the very, very last pick, like somebody who's going undrafted, like maybe in like a Jameis Winston, right? Or we saw Anthony Richardson request, access to have a trade. Someone like that, where, in the last draft we did, we picked, gosh, I'm even blanking on his name, on Washington, the punt returner, Jalen Lane, right? Like maybe he takes a step
Yeah.
forward, but maybe he's not even on the field. But we are almost on the clock here, so I know you don't want to double dip a quarterback with Caleb. I know you're not in on Parker, so we've got DK, who I think could be a good option here.
Yeah. I think Metcalf is a slam dunk there. And
Yeah,
then, somebody that I think could have significant upside if he does leave Indianapolis is Alec Pierce. And that's somebody that I think that we should go in on here. Um, is he going to be the number 1 on an offense somewhere? Probably not. Did we see him be very productive even as that number 3 option in Indianapolis? Yeah, we did. And he was really kind of stepping into a much more focal point of the offense. And if he does go to somewhere like New England, maybe that's a bad one because we do like Kayshon Boutte. But if he is able to go to a team that needs a deep threat and that doesn't have very good wide receivers, I could see him really being valuable, especially down in the 7th round.
yeah. I mean, he's earned himself a payday, right? Like he kind of went from the archetype of like you hear that sacrificial X or whatever that's always thrown around to like this last year. He was just freaking awesome, man. So good for him. And I think again in best ball, looking at DK and Pierce, it's like we know they can have some absolute stinkers, right? But those are also two guys that with DK and his deep touchdown ability can pop off on any given week. And DK only goes off when I play against them. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, it's just those weeks where he catches long touchdowns too. I mean, his volume is always suspect, but there's going to be weeks where he has a 50-yard touchdown, and those weeks are for sure going to land him in your lineup. And
Yeah,
hopefully
it's
that's a
just
little bit more frequently this year because he was kind of bad this past year. But hopefully he can keep that level of consistency up a little bit more in this coming year.
yeah. In our league, I think it was the European game, and I was at Oktoberfest, and I was facing DK, and I was like, didn't have a lot of service, and I was like, I feel good about this. He hasn't done anything, and then just boom. I think it was like a screen or something that he just takes to the house. And I was, I was so yeah.
Yeah,
That was the game because that was the Jalen
just
Warren game that
yeah,
he was
yeah.
out
The game he was
unexpectedly.
out. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. And you were like
yeah. And
texting
then
me frantically, like, what do you think? I'm like, dude, I've had 8 pints. Like I
I am completely out of this. I don't. No, I don't want any part of this decision at all.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we're 7 away now. We did take Laporta in the last draft when we did the triple stack with Goff and Amon Ra. So I don't know if he'll be available. Kyle Pitts, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to
You
trust
don't.
him.
You can't buy into that second half breakout. We finally got it, and it's still not enough. I mean, where
I
did he
don't know,
finish? He
man.
finished as though at tight end 3 last year. So
Well,
I
because of
mean,
that week
or tight end 2.
15 game. Like,
Yeah, I mean, but still, even beyond that, he was still really good, even outside of that one game over the second half of the year. Oh, and that did coincide with London being hurt, I will say. So,
yeah.
it's not like that's going to be the situation coming into this year. He's not going to be that good, but I think there's a considerable upside there. I mean, we don't have to take a tight end here either, though. That's the thing, right? That's the glory of it. And I think we should maybe take a shot on. Yeah, I like the Rico Dowdle. Let's go back to running back. Somebody obviously that doesn't have a job currently, but that can easily sign into a much better situation. Will rocket up boards if he does, and if he signs as a backup, there might not be as much hype. But after seeing that they want to split touches with Genty. Maybe that's a spot where he lands in the Raiders with the Raiders, and that wouldn't be very good. Next guy up, though, I think we could go with Michael Pittman here. I think Alec Pierce and him will be on different teams, and I think Pittman will still be the one in Indy. So hopefully that comes to pass, because if it doesn't, then we're going to be regretting picking both Indianapolis wide receivers there for sure.
At the buzzer, too.
I saw you
Yeah, I
go
like
and
that.
hover over the star.
Yeah,
20
I had a
seconds
feel.
is so quick on the clock.
I know it's nice. Ever since it was last year they moved it from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, and it's just so much better, especially when you have people sleeping
Yeah.
at the wheel like we were there. But I think Pittman's just always kind of undervalued. Like last year he was so low, and the year before he was like playing with a broken back, and that was a good value. And I think if they do move on from him, I do think Buffalo. I know I've said Buffalo with a couple folks, but could be a good fit, right? Like they need a professional in that room. Obviously, Shakir's great at what he does, but they're very different players, and so I think Pittman is someone that can step in, be relied upon, and I think he's owed against the cap like $29 million or something for the Colts. So I think it just probably is going to be a casualty of that, but it'll be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily realize that Pittman is somebody that might not be on Indianapolis either. So they're just down to Downs and Warren, I guess, if that does happen. So
Well, I think the thinking is they re-sign Pierce and let Pittman go. But again,
yeah,
we don't know that. Nobody knows that. But I do think there's a better chance than not that they're on different teams.
yeah, I think so too. All right, so looking ahead now, we've got a few picks still left to us, but I did mention Tyler Shuck as a possible quarterback option. We don't have a tight end yet, so seeing George Kittle there is at least a little bit interesting. We know while he's on the field, he should be good, but obviously deals with injuries a lot of the time. So that's somebody that if you do take at tight end, you should probably end up with a third one on your team. And then I don't know if Mixon's still going to be on the team. I know we took him in the last draft, but Woody Marks is obviously pretty interesting here. We could go back to receiver and go Jennings. That was a lot of names basically, but we got 4 spots now until we got to make our pick.
Yeah, I don't hate the value on Baker, to be honest. I don't know if he'll still be here, but I don't know. I just think we're projecting a lot with Shuck and Baker. We can still get like a back end stack with like McMillan or something like that, or even Tez Johnson with the last pick. And I think this gives us the opportunity to just have 2 quarterbacks, maybe, one of those third flyers with Anthony Richardson or something with the last pick. But I'm inclined to go Baker here. I do worry with Kittle like being as our number one tight end. Like we will need three, and I would think we'd have to draft Tonjes late just because he won't necessarily be ready.
There we go. We get Baker there now. That's good. I didn't
Yeah,
mention him because I didn't think he was going to be there. You can
I
take
didn't
Baker
either.
now, and I think we just go back to the guy we picked yesterday with Matthew Golden too. I think at this point in the offseason that this is likely to be as low as he ever is. I just think if anything changes in that situation, he is going to start moving up in a significant way. We saw him have kind of a breakout game in the playoff, and it was never an issue of his separation score or his advanced metrics. It was always just he wasn't on the field enough and he wasn't getting enough targets. So I do think that Golden is still a very good player. I know you have an issue with him from a production standpoint because even in college, he never produced. So this has all just been projectability on him. But I do think, again, the situation here is something that can change drastically if Dobbs does move on, and Golden is going to be somebody that they're going to look to fill that void.
I hope Dobbs moves on, man. Like, I don't
And that
know.
all comes to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah, that rotation is so annoying. It's like, remember a couple years ago we did like which Packers wide receiver do you want to draft, and we did Watson, Dobbs, Reed, Wicks, and then that was the year the first like 3 weeks Reed came out like a absolute buzzsaw because I remember you saying on that episode you were like, oh, I'm just going to take Reed. I'm going to pay up for Reed. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I like the value of Wicks because he's a good separator. And then like you were like, oh my God, Reed's the best. And then that all kind of fell through.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and Wicks, I've never been in on Wicks. I don't know. He was able to earn a bunch of targets there for a short period of time, but the drops kind of
He
made
can't
that
catch the ball.
evaporate over time. Yeah,
He
exactly.
can't catch the
So
ball. I, I just I have such an issue with people say like drops don't matter. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I understand what you're trying to do and say drops are random, but at a certain point, it's just like you're just dropping the ball and you're not
Certain
even on the
guys
field.
drop the ball a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
in drops and if you're trying to evaluate first and second round players, you're trying to evaluate the difference between CeeDee Lamb versus Malik Neighbors. And you go, oh, well, CeeDee had 8 drops last year. It's like, all right, dude, that's not what we're talking about here. Right. But when you get down to players in level that might affect their playing time, then it does really matter in a significant way. So
yeah.
yeah. All right. So looking forward now, we're up here in a few picks. Let's pull up the wide receivers and let's see what we can do at that position. We probably need 2 more running backs, if not a third one. But gosh, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, what a weird situation, man. I mean,
Yeah.
did you see it looked like AI to me, but did you see the video of him holding the ice cream cone and
The
just
ice cream
melting all
cone.
over? Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, what are you doing, dude?
I don't know. I'm worried. I stopped drafting him after
Really?
that point.
Yeah. Just really worried right now, and he might fall further. But somebody on here that you did mention, he just got picked, Jalen McMillan. Awesome. I was going to say we should go
Dang
there.
it. Yeah.
But let's look at the running back. So let's try and make a decision maybe at running back. We did take Trey Benson yesterday, but do you think Alvin Kamara is still has anything left in the tank? Do you think he's even worth drafting in a best ball format? Think he's got another 4 touchdown game in there anywhere?
I'm just worried he might retire if the Saints want to move on. I don't know. He made it pretty clear that it's pina coladas in Cancun.
Yeah. Let's go Benson then.
Okay, and then this will buy us.
I think he's the best. Yeah,
buy us a little extra time here too.
Yeah, with the wide receiver too. So, with the news that Travis Hunter is moving on, or not moving on, is moving to corner. I don't know that that's the best pick. We got 10 seconds here, so I think the pick is probably either Ayuk or Pat Bryant. And I know we did Pat Bryant last time, so maybe we take a shot here on Ayuk and hope we get some upside. And since we didn't really pick wide receivers very heavily, if Ayuk does get it together and sign, he could be actually very good this coming season. So.
Oh, for sure. And I think that fit with Washington is like, that's what he wants. That's what Jaden wants, so if that comes to fruition, then I think that could be a good spot for him.
Yeah. And that would be an interesting thing with McLaurin there, and Debo, I think, is still under contract there too. So that would be interesting and get decently crowded if Washington was the destination. I was kind of hoping that New England would be the destination and they would move on from Diggs. But I don't know that that's even going to happen either. And I saw Diggs go really early in this draft in the 7th round, and I'm like, until we see where he's going to be, I feel like that's a tough
Yeah,
sell.
I haven't taken him, I don't think, at all at this point. All right, so we've got 5 running backs. Our room is very solid. I feel really good about the quarterback room, wide receiver. I think we're looking good so far. So we don't have any tight ends. We do have quite a bit of time
Oh, I
before
was
our
just going to say
next pick, but
we have the goat best ball player to us,
I
Juwan
know
Johnson, but now he's gone.
Jawan Johnson.
Well, let's pull
Let's
up the
take
tight
a.
ends. Let's queue up a couple of them. So, do you think Isaiah Likely ends up on a different team somewhere? Or you think he's set to stay?
I do, and I've been taking him just because we know what his upside is. I don't want to get too carried away with him because my fear is that like if he was so elite and if Andrews was just clearly had fallen off a cliff, like why wasn't he more involved? I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
and
necessarily
why
fair.
did they give Mark Andrews so much money too? Because they
Right.
re-signed him and gave him a boatload of money. It's like, wow, why did you do
Yeah.
that? If
So it's
Likely was
like,
ready to take the reins.
yeah, I mean, I get it. He's tight end 22. We've seen the flashes, but it's like, I, I don't know. And I think I've heard like, okay, maybe he'll go follow Harbaugh to New York, but it's like Harbaugh was the one not really playing him that
Yeah.
much. And so
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I
that would
feel
be a
that.
good fit because what's his name drops the ball more than anyone. all those guys, all those tight ends, and Slayton too. They just poor
Theo
Dart.
Johnson, I think is who
Yeah,
you're
Theo
trying to come up
Johnson.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Theo
No, I
Johnson.
get that. And maybe like what's the word with Dalton Schultz? Why is he showing up as tight end 24? I mean, he was a top 10 tight end last year. I'm not sure I get that. Is it
I
just
think it's
because
just
they like
boredom,
Jaden Day? Yeah,
fatigue.
maybe, but
Yeah,
still feels
yeah.
like that should be okay.
So I've queued up my most drafted player thus
Yeah.
far. I think I'm at like
I'm
50%
all over
now.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think this guy's going to skyrocket. He's too talented, and we saw it before he got hurt when they finally got him back on the field. Like he was just moving and running different than Chuba. So I think if we do get Brooks here, we can go ahead and press pause or stop on the running back room and feel really good about that. So let's cross our fingers here. I'm not really in on Barner. I don't know.
No, I think we could keep waiting at tight end. Let's see what happens if we wait until the end and grab two.
Okay.
Just towards the end. Let's see how that build turns out because I think there's Brooks here, and then we could get another wide receiver here, whether that's Franklin, who could still easily be the number 2 in Denver, or we could even go down to Devon Vele, who has been your favorite, your my favorite. The other guy that's still there is Jerry Judy. I mean, is he not expected to be back with Cleveland? I mean, he is definitely a better talent than 67 overall. So, we could theoretically go ahead and just take a shot there too.
Yeah, let's do that. Why not? I'm not a Judy fan, but at that
I'm not either,
price,
but
I get it.
yeah,
I know you're not. I mean, we had him ranked 15, 20 spots below ADP last year for good
yeah, and
reason. It wasn't low
that
enough.
yeah, it ended up being justified and it wasn't even close to low enough. I feel like we were just trying to counteract Heath Cummings
Yeah.
because he just literally had him as like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And it's like, all right, every single person in the industry has to throw cold water on that now because it's not even kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So in order to get consensus down, everybody had to bury him in the rankings because of it. But
Yeah.
um, that one wasn't even a hard call. That one in Pacheco, I feel like were two of the easiest calls to just bury in rankings. And,
Yeah.
it turns out that neither of us were low enough on those guys. But, there goes another guy, A.D. Mitchell, that I was thinking that we could have talked about or gone with possibly too, if he's going to be the number 2 with New York. They just need a quarterback, right? If they
Yeah.
figure out what that position is going to be, A.D. Mitchell is another guy that I think can take a step up in these rankings. Probably somebody that I would highlight as a favorite pick in round 15.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to come in to New
I
York?
have no feel for it
Like
whatsoever. I
zero,
mean,
right?
Anthony Richardson, that seems like the place if they were going to trade him and seek trade. I think that's probably where he would try and go. But the problem is they're definitely looking to the 27 class for a
of course. Yeah.
quarterback, right? So like Richardson maybe would be good for them because they're going to lose a lot of games if he's their starter. But outside of that, I mean, unless they bring in a veteran like Kirk Cousins, I just don't really know at all. I have no feel. I haven't seen really any rumors around what the Jets are planning to do.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Kirk wanted to go there. Like it, I
Yeah,
don't
if
know.
they signed him to a
Retirement sounds a lot
2 year,
better. Yeah,
if they signed
yeah,
him to a 2 year deal, because I think we talked about this a little bit. He's knocking at the door of top 10 finishes in passing yards and passing touchdowns if he does get 2 more full seasons in where he doesn't get hurt. And so I think that could be a pretty important career accomplishment for him if he did want to
yeah,
seek that. And the Jets are definitely a location for this season where he would be able to start all year. So whether or not they want him because he might actually win them games, I think is up for debate. But that's why I think the fit could be okay there. Nice, you already got your favorite Torrey Horton queued.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
did we get sniped on Devon Vele, or is he still there?
I think he might still be there. So let's take a look.
Yeah,
So
he's still there. Oh
we can
wow, his
go.
ADP is 224. Oh my gosh,
It doesn't make any sense, man. And it's like,
I don't get that at all.
so I don't know. I mean, we can even wait and grab a tight end and then get Vele
Yeah,
potentially.
let's see the tight ends. I like Torrey Horton though because I think we can.
No, I want to take Horton and then
Yeah.
a tight
Oh, I
end.
see. And take a tight end and then take Vele.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We can take Otten because we
Yeah,
have
we can,
Baker.
but I think I might rather take Mason Taylor. I mean, he might be pretty heavily involved going into his second year. I think he's pretty talented to be this far down in the tight end rankings. Can you get rid of the receiver? Oh, we got 10 seconds here. Okay. Yeah, let's go Mason Taylor. Let's go Torrey Horton.
Okay.
And then hopefully Vele. We don't really need Otten. Let's see the rest of the tight ends that are available so we can get a second one that we like. Pat Fryermuth is at least a
Ben
little
Sinnott
interesting.
still, the Ben Sinnott believers are still
I
holding
mean, did they
strong.
did they sign anybody? Ertz is obviously retiring, and so is Ben Sinnott going to be the starter? I mean, that seems like a very interesting player for how
This is how
low
he.
he is ranked.
This is how they get you every year.
Yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
mean he's down at 37, so at least he's not sitting around 13 or 14 like the first number two. Kate Otten I think is fine. It looks like Devon Vele got picked, or did you unqueue him?
I probably unqueued him. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So we'll keep him in there. How many picks do we have left? Three. Yeah, 3 picks left.
4. Oh, 3 picks left. Yeah, yeah.
3 picks left. So we'll have
So we
three
need we
tight
need a tight
ends
end.
in total. So
We actually already have 8 wide receivers. We should probably take another peek at running back. Do we only have 6 running backs?
yeah, but in this build, I feel like it's fine.
We should maybe take one more running back though because we have 8 receivers. So we'll take a
Let me
tight
just.
end, a wide receiver, and a running back. So we'll have 2, 7, 9, 2 build. And
Yeah,
like
well,
the guy that we could take is what we did last in our last draft is we were looking to try and take Tajay Spears when we took Tony Pollard. Maybe we try and lock up Josh Jacobs with Emmanuel Wilson.
okay. We'll see
Oh,
if
is he the
he's
next
here.
running back available? That's not very original then.
Yeah, he's. We can also look at Devin Neal. I think Devin Neal's gonna move up too.
Yeah, yeah, Jaden Blue too. I mean, I know they re-signed Javante, but it's not exactly like he's been the pillar of health. So I think that Blue with his last game last year showed that he could be okay if they do need to lean on him. So he could be
Yeah,
interesting at
and
the end of these
it's like what
drafts
was
as
up
well.
with that, man? Because he was like a healthy scratch all year, and then like week 18, they just like unleashed the beast. It's like, is that more to come, or were they were just like they literally didn't care how he lined up or how he ran, and like
Yeah, I don't know. And he looked great too, was the thing. He had some explosive runs. He had some runs where he got, bottled up when he maybe shouldn't have, but seemed like the explosiveness was on display. And that's something that they could have used sporadically. So, and like in Dallas, not that it's the same offense, but we have seen Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard both
Pollard.
thrive in an offense there. So, it is high flying, it is high scoring. And if Blue does carve out any sort of role, he could be worth it if he hits a long touchdown, and that's the sort of thing that could be exciting at this point in the draft when you're really kind of scraping around trying to figure it out. So,
Oh, and
all right. So we took,
Wilson just went in front of us. So,
oh, too bad. Okay. Well, we're going to take Vele. Do you want to do the Caleb Johnson thing now? Or would you rather take Devin Neal? I
no.
think actually, because we just talked about Kamara. So I think we could take Neal if you want.
Okay. Let's go with Neal here. I don't know. I'm worried about the tight end because we're only going to have one left. So let's kind of go through and pick our favorite because it's like Tongas could get off to a hot start, right? In theory. And then Taylor can finish strong. But Tongas could also be absolute zeros for the second half of the season.
Yeah. And, we could chase the seventh year of Chigakonkwo as a sleeper too, if you wanted to.
Yeah. Every year,
New
everyone's favorite
offense.
sleeper.
And yeah, Cam Ward, he's been good. So Luke Musgrave maybe could get off to a hot start, but I don't think so. Eric All, you remember that name when everybody thought he was going to be great?
Yeah. So I like Max Clare a lot. Ohio State. It's risky, right?
Yeah.
With a rookie tight end, given how thin our tight end room is. I think this is someone that I'll be targeting as a tight end 3 after a couple good builds, but kind of a do-it-all guy, very good pass catcher. But Ingram's toast. Gesicki's, I took too much of him last year, chasing kind of the Dragons.
Yeah.
Arroyo, JT Sanders, Darnell Washington. Yeah. Do you think that they might move on from Komet?
If they do, though, that's probably better for him.
Yeah, but it's like, where's he going to go,
Washington.
Yeah, that's actually, I don't hate that. We can add him to our queue here.
Yeah, I mean it's a maybe because I don't know, maybe Max Clare is the way to go. And again, I don't know anything about him, so other than the fact that you just said he was on Ohio State, I definitely need to brush up on my ADP 240 rookies. So.
Well, we got a rookie draft coming up, and I guess it's not until May. So
yeah, which who knows if he even goes in our league? We only have 4 rounds, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's how I got Harold Fannin in our league last year. Like, he didn't even get drafted, right?
No, you got him in like round 4, I think, or 3.
Round 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, great value.
Yeah. Well, you did have the very last pick in our rookie draft, so you might have taken him either at the end of round 3 or the end of round 4. But yeah. No, wait. You had the first pick around 4, so I think you took him at the 3-4 turn there.
It could be.
It was a startup. Yeah, it was a startup. Yeah.
But I think for this, let's have some fun. Let's take Claire, right? Rookie tight ends are getting better and better. If he gets in a position to play well and get, second or third round capital, he's someone that's going to rise up a lot, or we can just be absolutely sunk at the position.
Which that's likely going to be the case with this team.
I think so too.
Yeah. Well, let's after we make the pick, let's take a look at the board and figure out maybe where we should have taken a tight end. And then next draft that we do, maybe make a point to either in round 7 or round 9, make sure that we at least get somebody, and don't wait all the way until the end. All right, we get our guy Max Clare. And so looking at the board, right, where the tight ends would have gone, right? So Warren got picked right before us on the way back in the 6th round, but maybe we go Fannin there at the 7-8 turn instead of Dowdle, or I'm sorry, at the 8-9
right
turn instead of Dowdle. Though we could have gone with Laporta, we just didn't make that decision because we picked him last week. And then at the 10-11 turn, I know you wanted to go with Baker, but that's probably where we should have gone tight end there. We could have taken Kittle or Ferguson. And, Ferguson, I think he scores touchdowns pretty consistently, is in a really good offense. And that's probably the direction that we should have gone. Because then after that, all of these guys down here, are they really that much better than Mason Taylor? I mean, who knows? It's kind of a coin flip.
Yeah.
And so, stacking up on better receivers and running backs after that point, I think is probably the move anyways. And then just pick a tight end that's decent, that makes it down there, that's going to be on the field, so. I think it
Yeah.
ended up being okay. We took Taylor in round 16, but maybe we look at it at that 10-11 turn in the next draft.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. All things to learn from. So overall, again, just reiterating, our QB room is awesome. Our running back room is awesome. Our wide receiver room does have a lot of upside when you really kind of break it down. We know Waddle's awesome. DK's a big play machine. Pierce long touchdowns. Pittman's solid if Golden emerges. Ayuk, we'll see. Judy's obviously been much better than his ADP, and then I love Torrey Horton and Vayle's in a good spot. It's just tight end is, but you never know. I mean, if they get a quarterback in there, like you said with Kirk Cousins, and Taylor is the number two in the option, that's a very realistic scenario from a team that's going to have to throw the ball a ton.
Yeah, so I don't hate the Mason Taylor pick for how late we got him, and that's
No, I like
probably
the
it's
pick. I'm
yeah,
just worried about the depth is with the
yeah.
position is all. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he gets hurt and we just end up getting zeros from that position or whatever, that's not a good situation at all. So yeah, we'll definitely clean that up. Next draft, we should maybe try and do like a 3-and-3 build where we take 3 quarterbacks and we take 3 tight ends, and see what kind of rooms we could build out there and how that affects our wide receivers and our running backs as well. So we'll mix it up for you guys. Keep bringing you these drafts, and hopefully this helps you lock in on Underdog.